opening statement, just a point of parliamentary inquiry. Are we now using, because I used to be the chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee, and we amended the rules last year, August 17, 2023 to be exact. Are we now adopting the amended rules of the Blue Ribbon, Mr. Chairman?
To answer the question of the Majority Leader, we are, of course, operating under the new rules of the Blue Ribbon, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason why I asked the question is that because our jurisdiction is embodied in the new set of rules, the purpose of which is to define the limits of our power and how and for what purpose that power is to be used. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for adopting the said rules. Gusto ko lamang pong idiin sa mga nakikinig po ngayon, lalong-lalo na po sa mga abogadong naririto, that you should have in your possession or you must have probably read the rules that I've just mentioned. Otherwise, siguro yung mga kliyente nyo, hindi dapat kayo bayaran ngayon kung hindi nyo nabasa yung rules. No offense to the members of the bar present here, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have been studying meticulously long lines of cases, and it would appear that the morass here, Mr. President, of this Senate hearings motivation is probably understandable. There is indeed, to the minds of those knowledgeable in law, a seeming conflict between a presumption of regularity as to what this committee will be doing and the presumption of innocence insofar as the rights of those perhaps not yet indicted resource persons present here today. Mr. Chairman, balancing the general public interests as against individual rights is probably the duty of this committee, and that is your job today, Mr. Chairman. In proceeding with today's investigation, I have studied the long line of constitutional authority emanating from the Constitution to the recognition by the Constitution itself of the right of the House of Representatives or the Senate to formulate its own rules. And under our rules, a Blue Ribbon Committee was indeed established. And a Blue Ribbon Committee, just like any other committee, can delegate the functions of the said committee to a subcommittee. And that is what we are doing right now, Mr. Chairman, if I'm not mistaken. Again, the presumption of regularity is there. The constitutional chain of authority having been established is there. But what is now needed, Mr. Chairman, is for the committee to really, as what the Senate President pro tempore mentioned a while ago, exercise and allow that the word respect should permeate the proceedings today, Mr. President. Dapat po magkaroon ng paggalang sa isa't isa habang tinatalakay natin ang nilalaman, ang konteksto ng ating hearing ngayon. Meron lamang po akong gustong idagdag, Mr. Chairman, na most probably hindi pa nagagamit. And I'm now addressing my colleagues here, the members of the bar, lawyers here in attendance. When a resource person is asked and he refuses legally not to answer a question, he can invoke the right against self-incrimination. That is provided for under the Constitution. That is legal. But we have a case, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, which should now be incorporated under our rules, that before a resource person can be declared cited in contempt, that he or she be given the right to explain why he or she should not be cited in contempt. That was part of the latest Supreme Court dicta in the Ong case. Number two, and this has not yet been raised in all investigations that I have attended ever since. There is a second, and I'm addressing and I'm now aiding the lawyers here in attendance, that there is a second right that can be invoked by a resource person in refusing to answer a question. And that right would sound something like this: I refuse to answer the question because this is not pertinent to the inquiry under consideration. Mr. Chairman, the word inquiry is part of our rules. That is Section 3, wherein a jurisdictional challenge can be raised. Questions should be pertinent or relevant to the inquiry. That has never been raised, and in a long line of decided cases in other jurisdictions, refusal to answer a question on the said ground has been sustained. Mr. President, I raised that point because first, before I again proceed with my opening statement, pinasasalamatan po natin si Pangulong Duterte sa pagpapaunlak sa imbitasyon ng committee ito, ng subcommittee ito, para ipaliwanag yung mga dapat ipaliwanag. Kinikilala po namin ang inyong karapatan, kinikilala rin po ng committee ito ang karapatan ng lahat na naririto, at dapat po yan igalang. The Senate's power to investigate is not merely a procedural exercise. It is a profound duty that enables us to uncover the truth, foster transparency, and safeguard public trust. Yet, in our pursuit of the truth, we are guided by the unyielding principles of the Bill of Rights, a cornerstone of our democracy that protects the freedoms and dignity of every Filipino. Yun po yung sinabi ko kanina. Mahirap yung trabaho ng chairman dito ng committee ito to balance public interest as against individual rights. The Bill of Rights ensures that even as we seek accountability, no individual rights to due process, protection from self-incrimination, nor presumption of innocence is compromised. These rights are not obstacles to the truth, but essential safeguards that uphold justice and strengthen our commitment to the rule of law. As we carry our investigative duties today, which is a broad information gathering given possible future legislative measures, let us reaffirm that truth can only be pursued within the framework of respect for these fundamental freedoms. By doing so, we not only fulfill our mandate, but honor the democratic principles that protect our people. Maraming salamat po, Senator Pimentel. Maraming salamat sa Blue Ribbon Committee.
Thank you, Majority Leader, for the words of wisdom. We now go back to the list. Senator Risa Ontiveros, if she wishes to give her opening statement.